Hello and welcome. I'm your moderator, Vanessa McElrath with ML&R Wealth Management. I just wanted to thank you all for taking time to join us today as we talk about the topic of Medicare. I think maybe a lot of you share some of the same thoughts, but on the onset, Medicare can seem and be very complex and confusing, but our hope for the session is that you'll come out with a much better understanding of all of the major components of Medicare, how they work, the differences and types of Medicare supplement policies versus Medicare Advantage plans, and then the actual process of enrolling in Medicare. And to make sure that we're helping as best as we can on this topic, feel free. We do have a Q&A box on the Ring Central platform. So if you scroll down to the bottom of your window, it should be in that middle bar where you can submit questions. And so I'll be monitoring that. So feel free to drop questions as you go out or share some of your struggles or experiences. And if our speaker doesn't address the question during his presentation as he's going through everything, then we'll be sure to take some time at the end to allot for Q&A then. So feel free to submit those there, and then don't worry about making notes immediately if you don't want to. We are going to send out a recording of today's session, and we'll also post it to our website. But without further ado, let me introduce you to our expert who we often lean on for all the Medicare ins and outs. And today we have Mr. Tim Jarvis. He's the owner and managing director of Stateside Insurance Services. Stateside, they are an independent insurance agency based here in Austin, and they focus solely on health insurance, but they service both the under 65 as well as the senior market. So Tim and his team have been really great resources to us and to our clients, and so we are really happy to have him join us. And so Tim, I will turn it over to you now.
Hey, Vanessa, thanks. I appreciate that. Good morning, or by this time it's good afternoon to everybody. It sure is a cold day here in Austin. I'm glad I'm inside. Stateside, we've been dealing with Medicare in the individual market for 18 years. We've probably written close to 3,000 Medicare supplement policies. And we always have kind of a common theme when people are turning 65. Our clients will contact us and they'll go, "Oh gosh, I'm turning 65. This is horrible. This is horrible. I'm going on to Medicare." We always say, it may be horrible turning 65. I get that. But Medicare is really, really good. You're going to see a significant increase in benefits, and you're going to see a significant decrease in cost. And that's a good thing. When you can get both of those, that's a good thing. Medicare, I'll be honest with you, Medicare is the only coverage we write that I've had thank you letters sent to me. I can assure you, I do not get thank you letters on the Affordable Care Act. Nobody is being joyful and kind on the Affordable Care Act, but when it comes to Medicare, they literally, I've had numerous people write and say, "Thank you for writing that supplement policy. I landed in the hospital and everything got taken care of." So just rest assured, Medicare is really good news. So what we want to start with is kind of prevailing thoughts on Medicare and retirement. Y'all been battling insurance coverage throughout your entire working career and adulthood. It's just a constant fight on insurance. You're dealing with deductibles and different carriers, different plans, coverage changing. It seems like every year it's a whole new battle when you're dealing with insurance. And as you approach 65, or as the Medicare enrollment periods open, you're getting inundated with Medicare information. Huge sections of the Amazon rainforest are being slaughtered to print all the Medicare information you're receiving. Joe Namath and J.J. Walker. I used to be a huge Joe Namath fan. I got to the point where I couldn't even stand turning on the TV set because there was Joe telling me about Medicare. And what's really pushing everything is you want to make the right decision, and you want to make all this stuff stop. You want to make the right decision, know you've made the right decision, and then move on with your life. Some of the major aspects that our clients deal with is first of all, and this kind of is an overlapping why this is also important. Healthcare cost will outlive my money. If you look at where we've been from a society as far as how long our life expectancy is, if you look at 1960, the life expectancy was 69.7 years. Jump 20 years, it goes to 73.6. Jump another 20 years, it goes to 76.6. And then in 2020, the life expectancy is 77 years. It's going to take more and more money because we're living longer and longer. 60% of people retiring are terrified of healthcare costs. And to give you an idea, inflation-adjusted healthcare expenditures per capita in 1970, and this is almost unbelievable, per capita expenditures were 1,848. You jump to 1980, and the expenditures were 2,926. Now, you jump 20 more years to the year 2000, and healthcare costs per capita, 6,800. Now, here's the next one that'll scare you. 2019, the last data available, the costs are over $11,000. So that's an incredibly dramatic increase from 1970 at under $2,000 up to $11,000 in 2019. 72% wish they understood Medicare coverage better. I will honestly tell you, and I don't have statistics to back this up, it's a gut feel. I think 1 out of 20 of our Medicare clients have just a minimal understanding of Medicare when they start the process. And I think that's just a general indication of general insurance, a low literacy rate on insurance in general. Then you look at people when they're looking at Medicare, they really have been told all their lives that Medicare will deal with everything. So going up to Medicare, we just kind of ignore it. Oh, Medicare will deal with it. I'll deal with it when I get to Medicare. Medicare will take care of everything. Then when you're kind of on the outside looking in, Medicare can be a little intimidating. It can be a little complicated. You're looking at all these various parts, Part A, B, D, C, all the various supplements, A, B, C, D, F, G, N, all these crazy, this alphabet soup. And so your head is kind of spinning with everything you're having to deal with as you go into Medicare and start to evaluate the options. And Medicare is very different than any insurance, any health insurance that you've dealt with up to that point. The reason I say that is with Medicare, you have benefit periods, you have reserve days, you have hospital Part A, you have medical Part B. It's different than where most of us have come from, where you have deductible, max out of pocket, co-insurance, and co-pays. And we've had that same system most of our lives in dealing with insurance, either through employer or through the individual market. Medicare is different. And then only 18% really ever sat down and discussed healthcare costs with their financial advisors. And I think the reason is because, first of all, it requires disclosure of health information. We don't all want to sit down with people outside of the medical profession and explain what's going on health-wise. It's embarrassing. It's personal. It's not something we share commonly. Also, future health status is unknown. How do you plan for something that you really don't know and can change very quickly? And really be honest, other subjects are a lot more pleasurable to discuss with a financial advisor. Hey, let's talk about the travel plans I want to do. Hey, let's talk about the second house in Colorado I want to buy. Those are a whole lot better, whole lot more enjoyable than talking about healthcare costs. So that kind of sets it. This is all overlapping on why Medicare is important. Now, if we look at Medicare, the background of Medicare is not a new phenomenon. In November 1945, Harry Truman sent Congress the first comprehensive health insurance proposal. Medicare has been with us for 55 years. It's been hanging around a long time. If we look at the big milestones of Medicare, Lyndon Johnson signs Medicare into law in 1965. When he signed into law, he handed Harry Truman his Medicare card. Harry Truman was the first individual to ever be assigned a Medicare card. In 72, we had 2 million people under the age of 65 added to Medicare. There's a lot of people who don't understand that Medicare is for, you can be under 65 and be enrolled in Medicare. 97, President Clinton signs into Medicare Choice, and that launches the Medicare Advantage product. 98, the internet site Medicare.gov is launched, and I'll tell you from our experience, it is a great source of information. It's a very, very comprehensive website. We use it all the time. 2003, we get the Medicare Modernization Act, which basically the two major components were the Medicare Advantage plans were expanded, and obviously Part D was launched. Well, Part D was organized, and then in 2006, Part D is launched. And so right now we've got 57 million people enrolled in Medicare. In another less than 10 years, we're going to have 81 million. And it's kind of a staggering fact. 10,000 people every day reach 65. That's a huge influx coming into the Medicare market. Now, eligibility is pretty straightforward. Who's eligible? It's for 65 and over, or those under 65 who qualify based on disabilities. End-stage renal and ALS are the two right off the bat. If you're a U.S. citizen or permanent legal resident, and as a legal resident, you've lived here for at least 5 consecutive years, you're eligible for Medicare. Now, it's very common, people get Medicaid and Medicare confused all the time. Medicaid is means-based. Medicaid is based on income. Medicare is based on turning 65. That's it. Now, why enroll? Enrollment presents one of the more complicating aspects of Medicare. And right off the bat, one reason it becomes complicated is because you contact Social Security to enroll. And we talk to people all the time. We go, okay, need to call Social Security. Jim, I'm not enrolling in Social Security. I'm enrolling in Medicare. Yes, but you have to call Social Security to start the process. Now, Medicare has been paid for during your working career. Aspects of Medicare have been paid for. So 40 quarters of employment will get you enrolled in Medicare without having to pay the Part A premium. 99% of enrollees do not have to pay the Part A premium. It's been paid for during their working career. People go, oh, well, Part A is free. No, it's not free. You've paid for it. You've paid for it during your working career. You've paid for it with that 1.45% of wages going into the Medicare system. If you're self-employed, you're going to pay 2.9%. Now, if you've not worked the full 40 quarters, then if you've worked 30 to 39 quarters, you can get Part A, but you're going to pay a premium, $274. If you've worked less than 30 quarters, you're going to pay $499. Also, if you've not worked the sufficient quarters, you can borrow from your spouse's work history to qualify for premium-free Part A. The rules on that are pretty straightforward. You must be 65, the spouse must be at least 62, and the spouse must have 40 quarters. Now, in addition to the 1.45% or the 2.9% that we're showing that you put into Medicare, there are additional contributions. On the higher income brackets, you do pay additional money into Medicare. If you have an individual income over 200,000 or married over 250, you're paying an additional 0.9% in addition to that 1.45. And there's also a net investment income tax of 3.8% that applies to dividends, interest, royalties, capital gains for those individuals 200 and above or married 250 and above. But that's the basic economics of how Medicare got paid for. What makes Medicare so attractive? First of all, it's a huge network. 97% of all the hospitals in the U.S. accept Medicare. If you have an employer group plan, or if you have an individual plan, you understand very quickly, I can't go to every hospital I want to. If I have an individual plan, let's say with Blue Cross in Austin, I can go to Seton and I can go to St. David's. But there's other hospitals in Austin that are considered out of network for those hospitals, for those plans. So Medicare is widely accepted throughout the United States with hospitals. 90% of all primary care physicians accept Medicare. And TMA says 60% of their member physicians accept Medicare. So you're really dealing with a very, very large network. And also the network allows you to cross state lines. If you've got Medicare and you live in Texas and you're in California, you have access to Medicare providers in California. You have access to Medicare providers in Florida, no questions asked. So that gives you a lot of flexibility in what providers you can see. A couple of things I would always mention: when you have when your doctor, always ask your physician, do you accept Medicare? That's the key. Do you accept Medicare? Do you accept Medicare assignment or Medicare reimbursement? You want to always identify that. And you always keep in mind, Medicare covers the vast amount of healthcare services. People always ask us, does Medicare cover everything? No. There are things that Medicare does not cover, and we'll touch on those later. But the vast majority of healthcare services that you're going to access, Medicare is going to cover those. An example close to home, my brother, John, 5 years older than I am, diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma lung cancer, bad stuff, and it was getting the better part of him. He was going down to MD Anderson, and MD said, John, we're going to try this new therapy on you, and you're going to be the first person we've ever tried this on. Well, that's about as guinea pig as you can get. When MD Anderson says that you're the first person they're going to try, you are the guinea pig at that point. Medicare and the supplement picked it all up. So, and also saved his life. But that's an example where Medicare will cover stuff that's even experimental at this point. So rest assured, Medicare is going to cover the vast majority of health services you're going to have to deal with. Medicare is more cost effective than other insurance that you've had to deal with in your working career, in your adult life. Medicare and the supplement coverage, whether it be Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage, caps your out-of-pocket cost. Healthcare costs become predictable under Medicare. So if you look at an employer-sponsored health coverage, the carrier, the network, benefits can all change every year because the employer is the decision maker, not the employee. So that takes a lot of the predictability out of your coverage. You can literally work for a company, and every year or so they come in and say, hey, changed insurance carriers again. You get to play with a whole new network. Make sure your doctors accept the new coverage. Coverage in the individual market, it's susceptible to significant changes. Benefits, cost, coverage, network changes, those change really every year. And so you're always being whipsawed in the individual market. Also, keep in mind that Medicare is heavily regulated, and the supplement and the advantage markets are extremely competitive, and that type of environment helps control the cost. Medicare is very, very stable as compared to other coverage. So when we look at the enrollment process, how to enroll. Now, before COVID, it was actually pretty easy. You drove down to the Social Security office, you did all the paperwork, you walked out, you got your Medicare card in probably 6 weeks. Well, COVID changed all that. You really have two options. You can either go online to, again, Social Security, ssa.gov, and enroll in Medicare. And if you are not going to take Social Security benefits, that is the easiest way to do it. And also the most efficient way to do it is online. Now, I'll caution you, do you feel comfortable with doing those types of transactions online? If you are not intimidated by the computer or online enrollment, then that will work out very well. It's very, very easy. I always advise people when they do the online enrollment, always make sure at the end that you get a big screen that says, this confirms your enrollment. Take a screenshot of the number. So if you ever have to log back in, you've got that number. I have had clients who have thought they completed the enrollment process only to wait a month and find out that nothing really ever got submitted and they're starting back from scratch. The other option is to set up a phone appointment. You call Social Security, you set up a phone appointment. Those phone appointments are really typically about 3 weeks after you make the initial phone call. They will call you at a predetermined time, and they'll do the enrollment over the phone. As funny as it sounds, these folks, Medicare, they do a really good job on enrollment. They really know what they're doing. It's not like dealing with other arms of the government. These folks are very conscientious. They're very smart about what they're doing. They're very, very helpful. So if you call the phone number, and it's real simple, 800-772-1213, set up the phone appointment. I think you'll be pretty impressed on how well they take care of it. And you know by doing the phone appointment, you've knocked it out and it's all over with. It's all been taken care of. Now, these are the enrollment dates. So you had the initial enrollment period, which is 90 days before, 90 days after turning 65. And then the effective date will always be the first day of the birth month. So we have people call us all the time and saying, okay, my group coverage is going to end on such and such day, on the 20th, or my birthday's the 20th. So that's my Medicare effective date. No, Medicare effective date is always the first day of the birth month. Then you had the general enrollment period, which we're in right now, which is January 1 to March 31st. But that July 1 date, understand what that means. You enroll between January 1 and March 31st, but your effective date is not assigned until July 1. So you could end up with April, May, and June as a potential gap in coverage if you're not careful and you don't understand the timing. Now, when you do the initial enrollment, if you wait and enroll in your birth month, they will assign the first date of coverage to be first day, month following your birth month. If you do it 1 month after, it's going to be the first day 3 months following your birth month. If you do it 2 months after, it's the first day 5 months following, and then 3 months, they really hit you in the nose. It's the first day 6 months following. So the reason I bring that up is you want to make sure that you account for the enrollment period so you don't have any gaps in coverage. So this is where it can really become an issue. Let's assume you turn 65 in January. You fail to enroll in Medicare by April 30th. You wait, you will have to wait 14 months before your Medicare effective date. The reason being is you missed the first period, you have to wait to the following January 1 to March 31st for July 1 of the following year. So that can cause some real coverage problems if you don't get the timing correct. Credible coverage, this is something that really impacts people who are COBRA or coming off of employer coverage. So credible coverage is coverage that meets the minimum requirements of Medicare, that your current coverage meets the current equal to or greater than what's available through Medicare. The big issue here is COBRA. COBRA, first of all, is not considered credible coverage. That is they've been trying to correct that from a legislative standpoint for years, and for some reason they just can't get their heads wrapped around it. So if you're on COBRA and then become Medicare eligible, COBRA terminates immediately. It's over. It's gone. If you're enrolled in Medicare and then go on COBRA, you're fine. But COBRA is not considered credible. And the reason that's important is the little fine that you pay. So if you delay Part B enrollment, you're going to be fined 10% for every 12-month period that you failed to enroll in Part B. And that 10% is assessed on the Part B premium. On Part D, if you do not enroll in Part D coverage, then you're going to be fined 1% per month cumulatively, and that's assessed on the national Part D premium, which right now is $33.37. Now, a 12% fine on $33 is not the end of the world, but that fine will never go away. It will be a constant irritant to you. You will hate to pay it every month. You're going to see that fine, and it's going to drive you crazy. And as that Part D premium goes up, your fine is going to go up. When Part D was launched, it was that fine was pretty significant because you had these premiums that were Part D premiums were very, very high when the program was enrolled. Now your premiums are as little as 7%. So there are people now who are going, I'll just pay the $7 premium. I'm not going to use the benefit, but I'll at least avoid the 1% per month fine. So it's important to understand that that fine is not going to go away. Now, we had a question that came up before the webinar started, and the question was, if you turn 65 and you're still working full time and have full insurance from your employer, do you have to sign up for Medicare? First of all, Part A of Medicare is automatic, and there's no cost. So there's really no reason not to take Part A. It's not going to cost you anything. It's automatic. Just let it happen. Now, on Part B, you definitely want to delay Part B because, first of all, you don't want to have to start paying for it because the coverage would be redundant with your group coverage. So there's no reason to have both of those plans in force at the same time, especially if you're paying for Part B. When the group coverage ends, you have 60 days to enroll in Part B without any questions asked. You've been enrolled with employer coverage, so you're not going to be subject to the fine. You're fine. And all the employer has to do is complete what's known as an L564 form, and that documents your group coverage. It gets submitted to Medicare, and they enroll you in Part B. So that's real simple. Now, let's talk about the parts of Medicare. So we have Medicare Part A, which they call hospital insurance. What Medicare A is when you walk in the doors of the hospital, everything that occurs in that hospital are going to be billed under Part A. It covers the inpatient care, skilled nursing, hospice, all under Part A. And as we indicated, the cost, if you've worked the 40 quarters, there's no premium. And if you haven't met the 40 quarter requirement, then you have the premiums that are indicated there. Now, what's interesting about Medicare Part A, which is different from any other insurance that you've dealt with a group plan or an individual plan, you have a deductible, which is typically on an annual basis. Medicare Part A deductible is based on a benefit period. And the benefit period is the 60 days after being released from the hospital. So you walk into the hospital, you pay the $1,556, you're released. If you go back into the hospital for any reason, even if it's not the original reason you were in the hospital, you go back in, that deductible's been satisfied. But if you wander back in there on day number 61, guess what? New benefit period and a whole new $1,556 is going to get paid. So totally different than the under 65 or the employer market. You have some various co-insurances that occur day 61 to 90. Medicare is going to pay all but 389. Days 91 up, Medicare pays all but 788. Then you get into the reserve days. But just think in terms of what happens within the four walls of the hospital are all going to be billed under Part A. Now, Medicare Part B is doctors, lab, x-ray, imaging, durable medical equipment, dialysis, all fall under B. It's basically everything outside the four walls of the hospital except for prescriptions. You have a premium that you pay, which is $170.10, which is the base premium. And in a second, we'll talk about the IRMA. And you have a $233 deductible. Once that deductible, and that's an annual deductible, the government can change that every year. Last year, it was $203. The deductible for 2022 is the $233. After you pay the $233, Medicare pays 80%, and you're responsible for the 20%. Now, here's a little unknown fact, and I have never found anybody in 18 years who knew this going into Medicare. There is no cap on the 20%. The 20% can go as high as the sky. The 20% meter can run and run and run. It never stops. So that's something that's very important to understand about Part B. Medicare will pay 80%. You're going to pay 20%, but there is no max out of pocket for the Part B expenses. Now, we said IRMA. And IRMA sounds like a mean old gal that just soon hits you upside the head. It stands for the Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. It's levied on folks on the higher income, and it begins for individuals above 87,000, married couples above 174,000. It's a fairly significant surprise to people because they've thought all along that Medicare premiums are flat. They think in terms of the base premium. They were not aware of the IRMA. I can't tell you how many times that we talk and discuss this with people, and when they get their Medicare statement, they call me up and say, well, you said the Part B premium was going to be $170. You didn't tell me it was going to be X. I said, no. That's the IRMA. That's being collected from the government, not by us. It's assessed on the Part B and Part D premium. It is not assessed on Part A. And what's more important, it's a 2-year look back. They're looking back at income 2 years ago to assess the IRMA, and the IRMA will change going forward every year as they look at your income from 2 years prior. Now, there's the various brackets for the IRMA, and then each tier, as the incomes move up, where the IRMA lands. And when you get above $500,000 for an individual, $750,000 for a couple, the IRMA maxes out at $578.30. Now, the increase from the first tier up to the top tier is basically $408 or $4,900 a year is the most that somebody would pay additional over the base premium. Now, the supplements. So as we said, Medicare was created in '65. We rock along for 20 years into the early 80s, and then the government decides to allow private carriers to provide supplements to pay the portion that Medicare does not. You have to be enrolled in A and B to be able to pick up a supplement. Supplements are guaranteed renewable, regardless of health, as long as the premium paid. And they'll cover one person. If you have husband and wife, they both have separate policies. And so what the government did is they were very, very smart in how they organized the supplements. First of all, they mandated the benefits. A G plan is a G plan is a G plan. It doesn't matter who the carrier is, what the price is. The benefits are always the same. The one probably knock I would give the government is they created this entire alphabet soup of supplements. There are, and we have to be careful because we talk about Medicare as Part A, Part B. We also use letters for the supplement, but we refer to them as plan. So there's Plan A, B, C, D, F, G, K, and L. They discontinued H, I, and J, and they added M and N. So you have this whole alphabet soup of supplements. Really, the two that got the most traction are F, which if you turned 65 after 2020, you couldn't get it anymore, and then G. Those were the two dominant supplements that everybody tends to get. And again, If you turned 65 after 2020, you couldn't get F even if you wanted it. These are all guaranteed issue when you apply during your initial enrollment period. And that's when you are assigned your Part B effective date. So let's assume you get a Part B effective date of February 1. That starts a 6-month period of guaranteed issue. That means it doesn't matter what your health is. You could be on death's door. You could be a debris path of health. You're going to be issued a supplement policy from February, March, April, May, June, July 31st. During that 6-month period, you cannot be denied a Medicare supplement policy. After that 6-month period, so starting on August 1, you can change supplement plans, but you have to answer health questions. You are subject to underwriting. So it's very important to understand that. What we try to express to clients on Medicare supplement, you're not going to date this policy. You're not taking this policy out for dinner and drinks and calling it a night. You're going to marry this policy. This is the last health insurance decision you're going to make. There's 2 reasons that occurs. Number one, these policies work so very well that if it's not broken, nobody wants to fix it. There's a high degree of customer satisfaction with the supplements. But number 2 is your health changes, and at some point, you will not be able to move out of that policy. Now, common questions we get. First thing is people go, is a supplement an HMO or a PPO? It's neither. It's Medicare. Your network is Medicare. It's not an HMO. It's not a PPO. They'll ask, from the carriers that you're recommending, who processes claims better? It doesn't matter. Medicare processes the claims. It's not the supplement. Then people will ask, well, I had cancer a year ago. There's no pre-existing conditions with Medicare or the supplements. And again, it's guaranteed issue. The policy is going to be issued as long as you're applying during that 6-month period. So Plan G, for example, it's going to, first of all, cover the Part A deductible. So that $1,556 deductible, it doesn't matter. As many times as you go in the hospital, the G plan is always going to cover that Part A deductible. The will not cover the Part B deductible, but that's only $233, but it will pay the 20% that Medicare does not pay. So that portion that has no cap on it, it doesn't matter. The G plan is going to cover that. Depending on the carrier, just think in terms of $130. Prices can vary, but that's a pretty good sound average number. Again, you're using or utilizing the Medicare National Network, and you are able to predict and define your cost, and that's the important thing. All of a sudden, healthcare costs become known and predictable. Now, what people don't understand is that the supplement is totally subservient to Medicare. It sits on the sidelines, and Medicare tells it when to go into the game. Medicare bosses it around. So if somebody calls us up, and I'll tell you, in 18 years of doing this, and this number you're not going to believe, but it is true, in 18 years, I've had 5 customer service phone calls on Medicare supplement. I've had 5. I had 5 calls yesterday on the Affordable Care Act. So 5 calls in 18 years. And they all were the same calls. The problem was Medicare. So the call would go, hey, the supplement didn't pay something. It's not the supplement, it's Medicare. Best example I can give you, we had a client down in the Houston area, Carol, and Carol's kind of a rough and tumble gal. And she called me up and said, hey, the supplement policy you sold me stinks. I said, wow, Carol, that's a little rough. What's the problem? It didn't pay a claim on an x-ray. Well, when you tell me that it's not paying an x-ray claim, I know what the problem is. It's Medicare. It's the problem. I said, tell me about the x-ray. Well, I fell, broke my wrist, and the doctor shot 7 x-rays. I said, Carol, there's your problem. Medicare's only going to pay for 3. She goes, what do I do? I said, you go back to the doctor, tell the doctor to bill Medicare for 3, the supplement will pay its portion, and then you argue with the doctor over the other 4. And ask them, why did you shoot more x-rays than Medicare would authorize? But that's the example of where, when the call is the supplement didn't do something, it's not the supplement. It's Medicare tells it what to do, and if Medicare has a problem with it, then the supplement just sits there, fat, dumb, and happy, and hasn't been told to do anything. Now, when I talked about predictable cost, if we look at the 40 quarters of employment and we define our cost, Part A, we said is 0. Your Part B premium, as long as you're not subject to that mean old gal Irma, it's going to be $170. The Part B deductible on a monthly basis, we take the $233 and amortize it over 12 months, is $19. Part D, what I'm saying is premium and out-of-pocket drug costs all in $50 a month. And then we say average plan G supplement premium $130. Add all that up. It's $370. There are no additional healthcare costs. You've accounted for everything at $370 because you put in the Part B deductible, you've got your Part D drug cost, the supplement's going to pay what it has to pay, and the Part B premium's accounted for. It's $370. That's what your costs are. That is the strength and the beauty of the Medicare supplement policies of Medicare. Now, the costs obviously change with fewer quarters, but even that, you're still looking, it basically becomes a 0 deductible policy for those amounts. I tell people, I tell clients, if you're going to go to the hospital, leave your checkbook at home. You don't need it. If you go to the doctor, once the $233 is paid, you're done. Medicare and the supplement will pick everything up. Now, this is the interesting part of this discussion. When you turn 65, you come up to a crossroads, a fork. You can go the left side and go Medicare plus Medicare supplement, or you can go the right side and go Medicare Advantage. I will admit to y'all up front, I have a little bit of prejudice towards Advantage plans. We write them. We will write Advantage plans, but I have some issues because I don't think from a value proposition, it's a winning value proposition for our clients. But we're going to talk about it nonetheless. Now, the benefits of the Advantage plan, as Joe Namath and J.J. Walker told us, low cost. Sometimes it's a 0 premium. They're free. Free is good. It's pretty nice to get free insurance. They provide comprehensive benefits, hospital, office, x-rays, preventative care, transportation. I mean, almost everything under the sun. They're heavily regulated, so the carriers must behave, and the folks, brokers like me, must meet annual requirements to write Medicare Advantage, and you get both a PPO and an HMO option depending on the carriers. Now, here's where I see the weakness, and I'll say up front, I think Medicare Advantage plans serve a specific market. I think the product works. The coverage does exactly what it's supposed to do and what they say they're going to do. But I think there's some issues that people do not look at when they go into Advantage plans. First of all, this is one almost nobody knows. You disenroll out of Medicare. You are no longer in Medicare. Medicare doesn't give a hoot about you anymore. You continue to make your Part B premium payment, but Medicare tells the carrier who wrote the Advantage plan, let's pick on Humana, for example. Medicare tells Humana, okay, Humana, you deal with them. Jim Jarvis is in Medicare Advantage, you take him on. He's your problem now. And the reason that works is Medicare pays Humana X dollars per month to deal with me. That's why they can get away with a zero premium, is because Medicare is offloading the responsibility over to a private carrier. They have restrictive networks. Humana's getting, let's say, $700 a month. Well, they've got to make money. The way they make money is, first of all, they have very restrictive networks that they funnel those Medicare Advantage clients within those networks. Those networks are never as large as Medicare. They can't be. There's more hospitals that see Medicare and supplements than would ever see an Advantage plan. More doctors see Medicare and Medicare supplements than see Humana's Advantage plans. So it's a much more restrictive network. The size of the network can be restricted by county. So where Medicare and a supplement, you can go throughout the country with it. That's not true with a Medicare Advantage plans. Healthcare costs are no longer predictable. When you hear Joe and JJ talk about the Advantage plans, what they're not telling you is there's a deductible. There's a max out of pocket. There's office visit copays. There are per day hospital copays. No longer do you really know what your medical costs are going to be on a month or on an annual basis. And what's really important is people do not understand that once you go into an Advantage plan and it's 12 months past the enrollment period for that Advantage plan, you've been in that Advantage plan for more than 12 months, you don't like it, and you want to go back into the Medicare supplement plan, you're subject to underwriting. You have to answer the health questions. And tends to be the reason you want to go back into the supplement is because you're starting to get hospital bills. You're starting to incur medical costs. And the reason you're doing that is there's something going on from a health aspect. That is what's going to cause you from not being approved to the supplement, and you're going to be stuck on that Advantage plan. Years ago, many years ago, I had a Dallas client have a friend, and he told the friend to call me. And the gentleman called me up and said, hey, Bob told me to call you. You can fix the problem. Well, I said, okay, well, what's the problem? Been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I have a Medicare Advantage plan, and MD Anderson doesn't take it, and that's where my doctor tells me I've got to go. What do I do? There's nothing he can do. He can't go to a supplement. He can't get approved. MD Anderson will not accept his Advantage plan. He's stuck. And after that phone call, I said, I never want to be in a position of telling a client they cannot get health care. And so that's why I have a natural prejudice towards Medicare Advantage plans. I want to emphasize, they do what they say they're going to do. The carriers are good carriers. The products are the product. They work. They meet a segment of the market, and they do a very good job. And our client base is probably not Medicare Advantage clients. Our clients want their healthcare costs defined. They want to know what it is. And so the Advantage plans are probably not their bailiwick, but there is a market that gets served by Advantage plans. Now, we did talk, what does Medicare not cover? Medicare does not cover dental, hearing aids, eye exams related to glasses and lenses. Doesn't cover long-term care. People don't understand this. Medicare does not cover long-term care. Does not cover acupuncture, foot care, massage therapy. You can go down to cosmetic surgery. If you want a tummy tuck, Medicare is not going to pay for it. And preventative care. That's one that really people just do not understand going into Medicare. It does not cover preventative care. It covers the Welcome to Medicare exam, but that is within the first few months of Medicare enrollment. If the service is approved Medicare benefit, then the Plan G will pay what it's supposed to pay. If it's not going to do anything. So I've talked long enough. I'm sure y'all have some questions. I just want to conclude by saying it provides excellent benefits, low cost protection. As we've stressed, predictive cost in the market and the products are extremely stable. I'll put up my contact information. So if anybody wants to email me or call, there's the information. And are there any questions we can answer?
Yeah, Tim, we had a couple of questions that came in. One of them was regarding the 2-year look back in the IRMA that you had referenced. So, for instance, someone turns 65, they got on Medicare, and then they retired. So to get their premium to go down to reflect their reduced, do they need to do it actively, or do they get adjusted?
So let's say you go onto Medicare January 2022. They're going to look at your tax return from 2020, and obviously that individual is probably making fairly good compensation. And then 2 years later, when the retirement income tax return of 2022 shows up, which would be in the 2024 year, then the IRMA would be adjusted based on whatever that income is. So yeah, your IRMA and your Part B premium can decrease based on changes in income.
And that just automatically gets adjusted, or does they need to apply and submit tax return?
Automatic. The Medicare and the IRS love to share your tax return, and that's all done automatically.
Okay, great. Another question that came in, is there a reason to enroll in Part A if they have insurance to their employer, or will it just cause confusion?
It will not cause confusion. In fact, it probably causes more confusion if you don't. And again, since there's no cost, then, and to be honest, it's automatic. You're going to get enrolled in Medicare Part A. It probably is harder to not enroll in A because it's automatic. And the employer benefits, the group benefits, will what they call coordination of benefits. They will coordinate benefits with Part A.
Okay.
Are there hard questions? I don't like hard questions, but are there any hard questions?
There's another one. This one, and I've heard a couple of times from folks, from clients, they've asked this. If they're on a company plan and then also enrolled in Medicare, do I use Medicare or company plan for claims? I think company plan is the primary, but correct us if I'm wrong here.
It matters how many employees. If you're above 20, which is subject to all the federal laws, then Medicare is secondary and the employer plan is primary. So the employer plan takes the first brunt of the initial brunt of the health claims. If you're under 20, then Medicare is primary and the employer plan is secondary.
Great. Okay. And another one, how soon before leaving full-time employment group health plan should you notify Medicare? This is a married couple, currently age 67.
Okay, so what I would do, I would, first of all, if it's suitable, have the conversation with the employer probably 60 days out from that event, and just kind of get them on notice because the employer is going to have to complete that form documenting group coverage, and they have to complete it and submit it to Medicare, and then that will get the enrollment done.
And can you enroll in Medicare if you're not collecting Social Security and working?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you turn 65, regardless of what you want to do as far as your Social Security benefits, absolutely enroll in Medicare. The Social Security benefits are independent of Medicare. Social Security just happens to be kind of the portal on how you begin the enrollment process. And let me explain for a second why that is. So when you turn 65, the reason Social Security is the starting point is they want to know how the Part B premium is going to get paid. If you're taking Social Security benefits, they will simply deduct the Part B premium from your Social Security check. But if you delay benefits, then they're going to want to know how's that Part B premium going to get paid. When you enroll in Medicare, your first statement for Medicare is for 3 months of your Part B premium. And if you're subject to the IRMA, that number can be, a pretty good number. Once you make that premium payment for the first quarter, we always send our clients the bank draft form and set up bank draft with Medicare. So after that quarter has been fulfilled, then the monthly bank draft kicks in and you don't have those big quarterly payments.
Okay. And if you're a permanent resident in the U.S., does Social Security need a copy of the green card, of your green card?
That's a Social Security question. I don't know what they would do on a situation. I apologize. I don't know what they would do in that situation.
We'll get with that participant and see if we can do some research for them. Last one, what do people do for dental and vision who enroll in Medicare A and B? Is there a viable market to buy just dental and vision plans? Where do they go?
Okay, I'm going to tell you all up front. I get paid if we write dental policies. I make money writing dental policies. I do everything in my power to make sure people do not buy dental insurance. Personally, I think it is a lousy value proposition, and I could go on forever on why it's not a good deal. Now, that being said, if people want to buy dental, obviously they can't get it through Medicare. Medicare did not include dental, vision, and hearing aids when it was created. And if they had, they would have bankrupted Medicare by now. But you can get dental insurance in the individual market through companies like deltadental.com, which is a good provider. Vision insurance is even worse value proposition because the only people that would buy vision insurance wear glasses, and that's the perfect example of adverse selection. You don't have any healthy people paying premiums to offset the claims of the unhealthy people. So that's why vision is not a really good market. As far as hearing aids and hearing, Medicare supplement policies, what I'm about to say, I'm going to break the law with Texas Department of Insurance, but Medicare supplement policies provide negotiated pricing, discount pricing with hearing aid vendors that can be very, very attractive. So those are things we tell clients all the time to pursue it through the value add programs through the various supplement policies.
Great.
Now, if somebody wants to argue dental insurance, I'd be happy to do it. But it's a lousy value proposition because what you're doing is you're paying $30 or $40 a month to get a carrier to negotiate a discount on your behalf. I bet you the vast majority of your clients can negotiate the discount without having to pay 30 or 40 bucks a month. And I have friends of mine who are dentists, and they laugh. They tell me, Tim, tell your clients do not buy dental insurance. It's lousy.
Understood. All right, we have time, I think, for one more. This came from a participant that's turning 65 in March. Her husband works for HEB, who has said that they will cover her on their insurance. So should she enroll in Medicare?
If there's no cost, if they will cover her for no cost, they are a great employer, and I would take full advantage of that and avoid Medicare Part B. Obviously, go ahead and complete Medicare Part A and get that out of the way since there's no cost. But if they're going to pick up the cost for her coverage, that's great. Take advantage of that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tim. I think this was really insightful and just helped clarify a lot of things for myself as well as our participants and panelists. So we appreciate you being a good resource for us and for our clients. And thank you for sharing your information as well. I'm sure we'll have some follow-up questions as well. So
obviously, thank you for the opportunity. Obviously, my email's there. If folks want to address individual questions, please email them and we'll handle those as they come in.
Great. Thanks, Tim.
Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate it.